pitching. I wonder about their bullpen a little bit, but they got one of the best managers in baseball.
Front office.
So I have to go with the Cubs in the National League and the American League. I'm going to stick with the Royals. I mean, they have, they've kept their unit intact. I mean, they made it to the World Series the last 2 years. They have maybe the most underrated catcher in baseball, I think. Defensively, I think they're really strong. And they won it last year with a pitching staff that was pretty suspect, and I would think that they're going to bolster that a little bit. As I understand it, they have, some really good arms coming up through the minors, and whether those guys make an impact yet. The only thing that's going to bring them down is their starting pitcher after Ventura.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be my pick in the American League.
Yeah, four guys that I talked to in your division pick Kansas City out of the American League. And I think it reminds me, Kansas City, if any team in the American League is like a National League team, I would say it's Kansas City. It's funny that.
Right, I think they would fit well in the National League. Yeah. I mean, they have a National League mentality because they like to run. They're the only team really in the American League that runs. I mean, they have speed. They have good outfield defense with Kane and I'm a big believer in pitching defense. Yeah. Because the Royals were dead last in home runs in the majors 2 years ago, and made it to the 7th game of the World Series. Last year they were 24th and won it all. Yeah. So
and dead last
thing is not really that. And they do have some guys who can pop it out. It's a function of their ballpark more than anything.
Yeah, they were dead last in innings pitched out of their starters too, which worries me a little bit out of the bullpen, but we'll see. How about what was the other one I wanted to ask you? Should steroid guys be allowed in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I vote for them.
Yeah.
I do vote for them, and my thinking on it is I'm going to vote for the obvious guys first, and so I voted for Clemens and Bonds for since they've basically been eligible. I mean, these are two of the greatest players in the history of the game, and even before they started using steroids. And I just feel like the Hall of Fame doesn't have to be heaven. I mean, you got a lot of guys in there who may have done things over the years before there was integration in baseball. I mean, when you think about it, Cooperstown is basically a museum. It should represent all the history of the game, not, even if it's, scurrilous. I mean, if you've got some guys, Gaylord Perry's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he made no secret that he doctored the ball. I mean, that was a form of cheating. Maybe steroid use was another form of cheating.
Amphetamines in the 70s.
In essence, my belief on it is that baseball condoned steroid use and actually relied on it after the 1990 strike to revive interest in the game. I mean, that's basically with Cal Ripken, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa. Basically, that's what revived interest in the game. Yeah. And baseball made money on that, and perhaps saved their game with the steroid use that was going on.
Right.
People love the home run, right?
Right. And now they're gonna badmouth them. Not so much Ripken, but Sosa and McGwire. Yeah, it's crazy. How about this? I know you don't cover too much, but who wins the NCAA title? It is March. I got to ask you.
Well, you got to think Kansas is the prohibitive favorite, but the thing is about Kansas is every year they get in there and they don't win it.
Right.
At least for the last several years. So if they don't win it, it's kind of a crapshoot.
It is.
I mean, you always have to look out for Kentucky, and just because of the players they bring in. But I'd have to go with Kansas at this point.
Sounds good.
Just because of the way they've played, and certainly out here on the West Coast, I don't think we have a legitimate contender. I mean, Arizona is not even going to win the league. I mean, Oregon's going to win it.
Right.
I think Oregon won it in 2009, but before that, their traditions in basketball, you have to go back to the mid-'70s with the Ron Lee and Greg Ballard teams, and even they didn't do much in the NCAA. So,
right. Well, if you ask Bill Walton will tell you everybody in the Pac-12 is the greatest team in the world.
Yeah, I think out here we realize that's not the case. I mean, you look at the UCLA. I mean, they're horrible. They were for years. They were the team that everybody looked at that could do it. And even Gonzaga, who has been a kind of a perennial power for the last 10 to 15 years, they're a little bit down. They've looked, they may not win. They may not make it.
Yeah, no. If they don't win the conference, they don't make it.
They're not the top seed in the Western Coast Conference,
right.
And they're thinking basically the only team that the team that wins that conference tournament is going to be the only team that goes.
Right. Okay. Last one. I know you covered Golden State. Do they get to 73 wins?
I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
At this point, unless there's a serious injury. I mean, they may not lose a home game. No. I mean, all year. And there's 41 wins right there. They're 17 away from tying the record, and they play a lot of their games at home. So I think it's now 15 out of their last 21 will be at home. So, and they played very well on the road as well. So, if they win their 15 home games, they're at 70.
Right.
So it's entirely possible. Now they do have to play San Antonio 3 more times, so that's going to be interesting. But the one time that they did play them, they ran them off the floor. Mm-hmm. So they swept Oklahoma City, which is they're an excellent team, and they played exceedingly well against the really good teams. And the only games that the 5 games they've lost have been to teams that probably are either under 500 or right around 500, like Portland was the last team to beat them. So
right, and the media, I mean, they were stretching, trying to find a bad thing going on with this team, and the whole thing with Curry and Green, the argument or whatever it was. I read. I don't know if you wrote it or you retweeted it. A story how Steve Kerr sort of correlated it with that same champion Bulls team when they were fighting, right? Was it something to that effect? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's blown over. It was like an isolated incident. Draymond Green's a very emotional player, and it wouldn't surprise me if things like that have gone on that weren't noticed. And as Kerr said, hey, I almost got in a fist fight with Michael Jordan in practice, and that was the same year we won 72 games in the title. So he's just a very emotional player. If they didn't have that, they would be in far worse shape, I would think, because he's kind of as they say, the heartbeat of the team, the conscience of the team. Yeah. And he gets them energized.
They're fun to watch.
Even in the inner circle, when he's saying, hey, we got to do this, we got to do better, we got to do that better, and I think he just had a bad day that day, quite honestly. Yeah. And he had been having some problems with his shooting, but after he came out in the second half from that game, he played a phenomenal game, and then came back the next game after that and hit the winning shot when they were without Curry. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Draymond Green. He's a fabulous player.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time out. If you want to let guys know where they can find you, where they can read you, and stuff like that, go right ahead.
Well, yeah, and we have, flagship is the San Jose Mercury News, but all my work appears in the Oakland Tribune and Contra Costa Times, and we're going through like a renovation of our newspaper names, but it's basically the Bay Area News Group on the West Coast.
Excellent, man. I appreciate it. Maybe we can catch up come midpoint season or something like that. Stay in touch. I really appreciate it, man.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, there we go. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, real good stuff. I really appreciate he comes on and he has no problem taking that much time and talking to us. But my God, he could talk, huh? Good stuff. So if you guys are still with us, which I assume you are, where is everybody out there on the chat box? Hit me up. Is that it? Do we want to talk about more games here? Let's do a quick rundown. As I said, to go over some of the few games. Edmonton team total, over 2.5. By the way, and I meant to mention this, going back to the San Fran,
I think personally they win the division. Right? I think that they get it done. I also think Golden State wins. But Carl, again, thank you for coming on, man. I had like 20 more questions I was just thinking about as you were talking. Maybe we can get you back on. I really appreciate it. Good stuff. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I was just writing stuff down. But again, let's get into a little college basketball. I mean, we did. We already were there. What happened anyway in that Wichita game? Wichita pulls it out, and Loyola still gets over 55. Did it go over? Yes. So Wichita hangs on. That's huge as far as some of these bubble teams. That's one spot that's still available. And that's that. We got Liberty UNC Asheville going on right now with an absolute blowout by Asheville. Yes. Cash Bets, what's up, my friend? All right, so let's do a quick rundown. I talk about Yale Cornell. I don't know if I got into that. They're laying 12. It's a big number. Cornell, we all know, is horrible. I started getting into the Ivy League a little bit, talking about no conference championship, obviously, this year. Well, ever, period. Maybe in the future. So it's big. Yale got 2 games left, got a half-game lead on Princeton, who has 3 games left. They got a make-up game on Tuesday. They got to play. Princeton plays tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday. Yale needs to hold this off. I like Yale in the first half -6. I like that. That's a good value. Not value. There's no value to -6 in the first half, but I think they jump on them hard. They play good Fridays. Princeton, Harvard. I got a client playing that one. As we're scrolling down, another one, Kent and Akron, right? Looking at the total here, it's dropped down a little bit, 147.5. Let's check in on Akron here. Their last few games, you look at, their last 10 games, they've all gone over except for a game against Bowling Green that stayed under the total, including games against Kent State, right? That game also went over, 85-76, way over the posted total, 161. You switch over to Kent State. Kent State, last game against Bowling Green, the same team that the Akron team played to the under. That game went under. Their previous 4 all went over, right? And then you go down, it's like 7 of 10 have gone over. 2 of their unders this year had been to Bowling Green. 2 of the other unders they had were to Eastern Michigan. You take out Eastern Michigan and Bowling Green out of Kent State's conference games, all but 1 have gone over. And then Akron, same thing. You take Bowling Green out, they've all gone over. With the total dropping, I haven't posted it yet, but we'll talk about it at 147.5. I think it's a safe place to hammer it. So that's where we're going with that. Just as an update, I believe Jeff's podcast tonight at 9. I'll be there. Not at 5 today. So take a listen. If you didn't hear us live, hit the playback. We had Carl Stewart, great information. I could have talked to him for hours about that, but I did want to get on with this. What was I going to say? So you listen back to the whole thing, all good stuff. We touched on San Fran, the Giants season. We touched a little bit on Golden State, but really good stuff. So take a listen on the playback, which will be up in a minute. We talked about the NHL. Edmonton team total over was basically the only thing I really got any value of today. So that's something to think about. Where the hell is the Baltimore score? Sorry, guys. Okay, our first play in baseball today gets it done with Toronto on the money line. Now if we can just get Tampa Bay to score some friggin' runs, I'll tell you what. You want a good under team this year? Tampa Bay. Tampa can't hit for a lick. They can pitch the lights out, though. They're going to be a solid under team this year. Continuing on in the NCAA, so we got that one. We got that Yale first half. We talked about VMI earlier, too, if you didn't hear. We've been riding VMI, a team very underrated, not quite as good as that Holy Cross game that we hit last night on the big upset. Number 9 seed knocked off the number 1 seed. We had them at plus 800 to 8 to 1 on our money, basically. It was beautiful. So they Akron over. Continue to scroll down here as I'm all over the place, I know. Texas, Oklahoma State, that's a client play as well. Southern Illinois, Northern Iowa, just about to get underway, I believe, right? I sent out the under as a play. This one opened at 136. Went down all the way down. I still like the under here. I really do. And no